The cries of a newborn baby filled the dimly lit ward of the government hospital in Surulere. Nkechi, drenched in sweat and exhausted from the 14-hour labor, summoned what little strength she had left to turn her head and look at the tiny bundle the nurse was wrapping. "It's a girl," the nurse announced gently, placing the newborn in Nkechi's trembling arms. Nkechi's heart swelled with love and gratitude. "Oh," she whispered. "You're beautiful. You're mine." She looked around for her husband, Chuka, expecting him to come rushing in with relief and joy. He had been pacing the hallway earlier, too nervous to sit still. But now he was nowhere in sight. She waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 30. "Excuse me, nurse, please, my husband, did he leave?" Nkechi asked weakly. The nurse gave her a pitiful look. "He said he was going to buy baby things, diapers and baby milk." 3 hours passed. Still no Chuka. By the time the doctor came in to check on her, it was evening. Nkechi's phone had no airtime and Chuka's line was switched off. A creeping fear began to rise in her chest. She tried to push it away. Maybe he lost his way. Maybe his phone died. Maybe he was stuck in traffic. But deep inside her, something felt terribly wrong. The next morning, the nurse returned with a plastic bag of cheap baby clothes, donated by another woman's family. "Your husband never came back," the nurse said softly. "Do you have any other relatives we can call?" Nkechi shook her head, eyes brimming with tears. She had no one. Her mother had died during her youth. Her father remarried and barely spoke to her. Her in-laws had never liked her. She was alone. 2 days later, with her baby in one arm and a hospital bill in the other, Nkechi stood barefoot outside the hospital gate. Chuka had vanished completely, no calls, no visits, no messages. Just gone. All because she gave birth to a girl. Nkechi sat by the roadside, her baby wrapped in a faded hospital blanket. Her hospital file clutched tightly to her chest like it could shield her from the cruel new reality she faced. The sun beat down mercilessly, and every stare, every whisper from passers-by felt like a slap. A woman with a tray of oranges approached. "Sister, you just born?" she asked kindly. Nkechi nodded, not trusting her voice. The woman handed her an orange without asking for money. "God will help you. No condition is permanent." It was that phrase that sparked something in Nkechi's soul. With nowhere else to go, she returned to the one-room apartment she had shared with Chuka in Ajagunal. But the key no longer worked. The landlord confirmed her fears. "Your husband came 2 nights ago, collected his things, told me una done separate. He even changed the lock." Nkechi stood frozen, her child crying softly in her arms. "Where did he go?" The landlord shrugged. "Ask your God, madam." With tears streaming down her cheeks, she found herself on a wooden bench at a nearby church. A night of crying turned into a week of fasting. Hunger became a companion. Her breast milk dried up. Her baby's cries echoed in her ears. But the shame of returning to her estranged father or begging from neighbors was greater than any hunger. Then, one morning, as she sat hopelessly by a roadside kiosk, an elderly woman named Mama Ifeoma spotted her. I've been watching you. You look like someone who has not eaten peace in a long time. Come." Mama Ifeoma took her in. No questions asked. Fed her. Held her baby while she slept for the first time in days. "You'll work for me in my canteen. Clean plates, serve food. I'll pay you small and you can save for rent." Nkechi's eyes widened. "You don't even know me." The old woman smiled. "I don't need to. God knows you and that's enough." And just like that, with burnt hands from washing hot pots and a tired back from carrying trays of umla, Nkechi began to rebuild. She named her daughter Kizaram, "God has answered me." But even as she swept floors and battled insults from rude customers, one thought never left her mind: he abandoned me like trash. But one day he will see me rise. 2 years passed like slow-moving smoke. Nkechi, now leaner, stronger, and bolder, had gone from washing plates at Mama Ifeoma's canteen to managing the register. Her sharp mind and gentle smile made customers return, not just for the food, but for her service. Mama Ifeoma noticed. "You're not just a helper, Nkechi. You're a leader. It's time to let you fly." With a small loan from the kind old woman and 300,000 Nigerian nairas she had saved from tips and wages, Nkechi opened her own roadside food stall. She called it Grace Kitchen. The first signboard was hand-painted on wood. The pots were borrowed. The space was a borrowed corner near a motor park. But the vision, all hers, and business boomed. Drivers, traders, and tired workers all flocked to her stall. Her secret? A recipe she created during sleepless nights. Pepper chicken sauce with ugu rice, and an attitude that welcomed the weary like royalty. But with success came whispers. People who had ignored her now greeted her loudly in public. Women envied her glow. Her child, Kizaram, now 3, spoke English better than most of the children in the compound. Then, one humid evening, as Nkechi was closing shop, a black Toyota Camry drove up. From it stepped Chuka, dressed sharply in a blue senator wear and brown loafers. He looked surprised, even confused. Nkechi, she didn't flinch. Yes, he paused. I heard about a woman who owns this place. I didn't know it was you. Oh, now you know, she said, calmly wiping her hands on her apron. He tried to laugh. You're doing well. Wow, God is good. She nodded. Very good. God was there when you abandoned me at the hospital. Chuka winced, but she continued. I carried our daughter in blood and you carried your ego and ran. Why are you here? He cleared his throat. Look, things were tough then. I was confused. I've changed. I want to be part of my daughter's life. Nkechi stepped forward, voice steady. You lost the chance when she cried in my arms and you weren't there. When we ate only Gary for weeks and you were living in a hotel. He looked away, ashamed. So you won't forgive me? She took a deep breath. Forgiveness is not the same as access. Then she smiled. Not with malice, but with power. Thank you, Chuka. If you hadn't left me, I wouldn't have found my fire. He stood there, unsure of whether to plead or run. As the car pulled away, Kizaram ran out from behind the stall and into her mother's arms. Mummy, who was that man? Nkechi held her close. No one important, my darling. Just someone who walked out too early to witness the miracle. And the miracle was just beginning. It had been 5 years since that hospital bed, 5 years since Nkechi had been told to sign discharge papers herself after giving birth, alone, bleeding, and broken. But the woman standing in front of the mirror now didn't look like someone life had ever tried to crush. Dressed in a custom-made Ankara gown, makeup light and graceful, and her daughter, Kizaram, now 6, singing softly in the background, Nkechi was preparing for the biggest day of her life. The local business chamber was honoring her as Enterprising Woman of the Year. From a roadside food stall, she had built a chain of food outlets. Grace Kitchen now had 3 branches across the city and supplied food to major offices. She had also opened a foundation in her daughter's name. The Kizaram Foundation for Abandoned Mothers, offering free meals and skills training to women left behind like she once was. As she walked up to the stage to receive her plaque, the hall erupted in applause. But Nkechi's mind traveled, just for a moment, back to that white hospital sheet, her cries, the emptiness. The host handed her the microphone. She smiled, calm but firm. I was once told that I was useless because I gave birth to a girl, she began. But today, that girl is the reason I stand strong. She gave me the will to survive, the courage to build, and the power to rise. The crowd went silent, then thundered. After the ceremony, as people gathered around to congratulate her, a woman stepped forward. It was Chuka's mother, the same woman who had once shouted that a baby girl was a waste of womb. She knelt. My daughter, I wronged you. I judged you. But you turned ashes into gold. Nkechi helped her up. Mama, I don't carry bitterness. I carry purpose. That's why I didn't fail. Later that night, in the quiet of her new home, Kizaram climbed onto her mother's lap. Mummy, are we rich now? Nkechi laughed. We're rich in everything that matters. My love, peace, power, and love. And in that moment, crown invisible but undeniable, Nkechi finally sat on the throne she built herself.